Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Hours in My Library. This week, as predicted, we're back in London with a nice, it's without a jacket, but it's got a nice medallion on the front that's sort of slightly inset. It's Old London Bridge by Golden Home, and it was published in 1931 by the Bodley Head. This is quite a fascinating book, but the author is quite fascinating as well. He was a landscape artist, editor, and writer. And he edited The Tattler for quite some time, and then he moved to AC and Black publications. He lived from 1878 to 1969, so he was almost 90. Or yeah, around 1991. And this is one of his last books that was written, as I say, in 1931. It's a fabulous book. There's lots of illustration. There's the frontispiece, and there's the title page. And it goes through and it talks about the history of the old London Bridge, its predecessors, and its beginnings, how it was built in the 12th century, where the money came from, and so forth, and all the way through all the periods of Renaissance, uh, the Edwards, the reign of Richard II, and Stuart times, the Restoration, and then he talks about this declining years, and then finally its end in the sort of second third of the 19th century, and a bit of sort of an aftermath as well. But he goes all the way through with descriptions of how, like I say, how it was built, including the shops and the buildings that were on there. People lived on there, and where it got into disrepair, how it was repaired, where the money came from, and everything. It's a fascinating story, and as I say, there's quite a few illustrations throughout, and it's like it doesn't even look like a bridge. At times. Well, that's not a bridge. Um, that's the I think that just in Suffolk, the buildings before it. But there's let's see here. It's hard to get pages here. But yeah, there's all sorts of, like, when there's fire and so forth on the bridge. It's just a wonderful book, and it's well written. He's a very good writer. How sort of academically scholarly it is another question, but he did go through a lot of archives to write this, and I found it enjoyable, and I definitely want to reread it again. I started rereading it at one point, and I got about halfway through. No, about a little more than the third way through, but I never completed it again. But it is something that I'll reread. There's a lot of information in there, and it's just extremely enjoyable. And it's a nice solid book. It's on heavy paper, so this seems like a very, very thick book, but it's under 400 pages. But it's just well made, and he wrote so many things on London as well: Roman London, medieval London, just a whole strew of books before he died. And I'm not sure. Well, the list that I saw, this seemed like it was one of his last books, but he still had 30 some years, so he might have wrote other things, or he just stopped writing in the 30s. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about him, but it is a fascinating book, and it's not that hard to get. I picked it up here at my local bookshop, and as soon as I saw it, I snapped it up, because it's not only a nice looking book, it is right up there. I don't have it at the moment with my London collection. It's with my sort of road collection, roads, bridges, and that type of thing. But when I do a reorganization here, it will get moved to the London section rather than sort of put away sort of less accessible. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you next time, BookTube.